Greetings, everyone. Well, without any further ado, let's get right into the overview, shall we, as we continue looking at my PS2 collection today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Well, where to begin? Well, let's begin at the beginning. With these ones. Okay, here we go. This is probably one of the biggest individual sections in the collection. This is sort of my retro anthology archive collection type section. So let's take a look here and see what we got. Now, as you know, I've been a gamer basically since the beginning of video games. The very first game I ever played was Pong, and then I played on the Atari 2600 and Intellivision and ColecoVision and NES, Super NES, Genesis. I kind of missed the Master System, Sega CD, 3DO, PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, and the N64 and the 3DO, and yeah, I played a lot of video game systems. But anyway, let's go right back to the beginning with Atari and Activision. Activision, of course, is still around. Well, I guess Atari is too. But this is the beginnings of them. These are great, great collections. Let's take a look at the Atari anthology first. This one here, 85 games that started it all. This actually includes Pong, as well as a bunch of other ones. This is primarily Atari 2600 games, but it also includes a bunch of arcade games, as well as their Atari 2600 counterparts. There's the inside. Most of these I bought new back in the day. Nowadays I mostly buy used, just because I don't have as much money as I did back in the day. And there's your manual. It actually has this is a really good collection if you're into old Atari games, because not only does it have a butt-ton of games, you know, more than you'll probably ever play, but it also has the original manuals, a lot of promotional material, and everything archived on the disc in sort of like picture format, scans and whatnot. So really cool collection if you're a fan of the old school. And carrying on with that is the Activision anthology, which is also a very cool collection if you're a fan of the old school. There you go, you got the list of the games on the back here. So this one has over 45 games. Yeah, Activision was, next to Atari, was basically the other huge publisher of games for the Atari 2600. And this has a bunch of their all-time classics. It's great stuff here. Yes, including Pitfall, by the way. Pitfall, one of the all-time greatest games of all time. And there you go, and there's the instruction manual for that one. So, and you get little screenshots of each one too. So, I actually do still have pretty much all of my original Atari 2600 cartridges. I had still have actually, a ColecoVision with the Atari 2600 expansion module, so it actually allows me to play Atari 2600 games on the ColecoVision. Very cool setup. And at the time, Atari was kind of in rough waters, so a lot of Atari games were going dirt cheap. So there was like a bargain bin at the local Kmart that was selling it for like 99 cents, $1.99 a piece. So I got a ton of Atari games really cheap, even on my allowance budget at the time. So carrying on here, let's take a look at some arcade games. We have Taito Legends 2. I still need to find the first one, actually. There's also a Namco collection that I really need to get. Now this collection here is all arcade games. So there's quite a lot of arcade games on here. Over 35 games. So it's actually pretty close to the Activision collection. So that's pretty good. And the cool thing about this is you can actually organize everything chronologically. So you can sort of see the evolution of video games through these collections, which is pretty cool. You can't do that with the other ones, but you can do that with this one, so that's pretty cool. So Taito Legends, you got stuff like, you know, Darius Gaiden, you got a couple versions of Space Invaders, you got Puzzle Bobble, which is a spin-off of Bubble Bobble, Kix, that's QIX and stuff like that. So some really good classic arcade games on here. And then we have, continuing on with the arcade games, this one I do have the complete set of. They released 3. The Midway Arcade Treasures collection. So you got 1, 2, and 3. The third one is mostly racing games. The first 2 are just kind of a mix of stuff. So here's the first one. There you go. There's a lot of good stuff on here. You got like Gauntlet, Joust, Spy Hunter, Paperboy. A lot of these are arcade games that I remember vividly playing when I was a teenager. And it's great to be able to fire them up again and essentially have unlimited quarters. So this is the second one, which basically just continues on in the same tradition. You got Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 on here. You got Pit Fighter, Narc, Rampage, Total Carnage, whole bunch of good stuff. Again, another really good mix. If you're a fan of the arcade classics like I am, then you really can't go wrong with a collection like this. Great stuff. And then this one is, as I say, all racing games, because Midway did a lot of racing games. You got stuff like Hydro Thunder, Super Off-Road, San Francisco Rush, The Rock Alcatraz Edition, and also San Francisco Rush 2049. And one of my all-time favorites, Stun Runner, which I used to play in the local 7-Eleven in a sit-down version. So, there you go. Just not that you can really see much there, but you know, it gives you the controls for all the different games individually, which is pretty cool. One thing that I liked, Cass is my brother for those who don't know. Cass is a huge racing game fan. He's just generally a car nut. And one thing we really enjoyed playing on this was San Francisco 2049, I think it was, where there's actually a free play mode where you can just free roam all around the game and find all the hidden areas and stuff. And that's something I'm sure was not in the arcade version, because otherwise people would be sitting there playing forever. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So there's a lot of little things that are thrown in. Now this isn't specifically PS2, but it is PS2 compatible. This is actually a DVD release of an old Laserdisc game. Now the Laserdisc game originally used mirrors and whatnot to simulate a holographic effect, so it would actually raise up the characters and then had little models in the background that they would stand in front of. So it created the effect of being a holographic game. It wasn't actually, but very cool. It's very much in the style of Dragon's Lair, where you have to sort of watch what's going on and then time your moves. There is a 3D mode as well, so you can actually play it in Anaglyph 3D to simulate the effect. And just a pamphlet here. I think I picked this up for about $3. The local EB Games had a bunch of them and they just weren't moving, so they cleared them out and I got one. But I remember playing this in the arcade and I liked it. I always thought it was kind of like a live-action Dragon's Lair game, which essentially is what it was. I mean, it was basically the exact same gameplay, just with live actors instead of animation. So, Time Traveler, lots of fun there. And now we get into some Sega stuff. Sega! Now this one, of course, is not really retro, but I just threw it into this collection because it kind of goes with everything else. Here we go. We have the Sonic Mega Collection Plus, which originally was released on the GameCube, but then the PS2 version came out a year or two later with several new games. The original release, I believe, only had the Sega Genesis games. This one also includes the Game Gear games that Sonic was on. So this is all of the original Sonic the Hedgehog games in one nice collection. You got Sonic 1, 2, and 3, Sonic Spinball, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3D Blast, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and then you have the first 6 Game Gear games as well. So this is a really good collection. If you want to get your old school Sonic game on, this is the place to go because it'll do you right. So here we have the disc and nice colorful instructions, and quite a thick instruction manual actually, because of course there's a lot of games in here, and each one kind of modified the control scheme and whatnot. It's also pretty cool because this collection has an archive of the first, I don't know, 120 or so comic book covers, because of course the Archie Adventure comic book, based on the games and originally based on the Saturday morning cartoon, is still running. It's over 200 issues, like 210 issues now at the time of this video, and it's still going. So anyway, they have an archive of the first, I don't know, 10 years or so worth of covers on here, and it's really cool. There's also some unlockable games, just some other miscellaneous Sega Genesis games. And then a few years later they put out this one, the Sega Genesis Collection. Now there is a PS3 version of this called, I think, Sonic's Sega Genesis Collection or something like that, which is kind of like a combination of these two, but upgraded for high def and 16:9 displays and whatnot. I really want to pick that up for the PS3 because I think you know, as I mentioned before, we're kind of spoiled by the wireless controllers, and we have one of the later PS3s that doesn't have the PS2 compatibility. So I think it would encourage us to play more if we had the PS3 version. But this is really cool. I mean, you got, again, you have a couple of the Sonic games, but then mostly a bunch of other stuff. One of my all-time favorites, Kid Chameleon, is on here. You got Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4 if you're an RPG fan. You got Vector Man 1 and 2, Virtua Fighter 2, Shadow Dancer, Golden Axe 1, 2, and 3, Echo the Dolphin 1, 2, and Echo Jr., Columns, a whole bunch of great stuff. This is just an awesome, awesome collection. I used to own a Sega Genesis, so I used to play a lot of these games back in the day. Either owned them or would rent them. So there's a lot of memories for me in this collection. It's just great. Oh, and Altered Beast is on here too. There's also a lot of unlockables on here. They have interviews with a lot of the original creators of the games, and unlockable games as well. Like you can unlock Zaxxon, you can unlock the arcade version of Altered Beast, and all kinds of cool stuff. And then here we got Sonic Heroes, which most of you probably know because it's not that old. So I won't bother going into depth about it. Essentially team-based 3D Sonic game. I've never actually played it all the way through. I wasn't terribly impressed with it. I really got to sit down and do that one of these days. Yeah. I don't know. Better than Sonic Unleashed? Not as good as Sonic Unleashed? I don't know. You guys let me know. It seems like we're still waiting for a really decent 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game. I think the only good ones we ever got were the ones on the Dreamcast. Criminally short-lived lifespan and underrated game system. It'd be nice if some of the old Dreamcast exclusive games would be re-released so we could enjoy them now. Those of us who didn't have a Dreamcast and don't have a Dreamcast. Yeah, I should mention also actually Sonic Mega Collection Plus. The GameCube did get a second collection as well, which also included Sonic CD. Unfortunately, that one never came out on the PS2. So that's one of many reasons I'd like to get a GameCube. The other reason I'd like to get a GameCube is because they put out a lot of upgraded versions of older games, such as the first 3 Resident Evil games, as well as Resident Evil 0. The first Metal Gear Solid, they got Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes, which is a majorly upgraded graphics version of the first Metal Gear Solid, and all kinds of stuff. You know, Luigi's Mansion, and I think there's Paper Mario, and all the Star Fox games, stuff like that. So there's a lot of reasons for me to want to get a GameCube. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. Anyway, that's the retro collection, and that's it from me to you for now. So until next time, when we continue the PS2 overview, thanks for watching, and sayonara.